They have their names included on the tribute that today stands at the entrance of the Port of Miami. A great number of pioneers came to Miami from other countries and also from other parts of the United States. With their arrival, personal and international business relationships grew, and consequently so did international cargo and passenger traffic to and from Latin America and the Caribbean through our airport and seaport. With tremendous assistance from the Port of Miami management and representatives, 8 years later, after that first meeting, we finally had the design, location, and the funds to make the private-public partnership project a reality. We broke ground on April 16, 2008, and on June 26, 2008, the tribute was unveiled. The ceremony was attended by over 400 including pioneers, friends, and family, elected officials, and Port of Miami representatives. As you know, the tribute stands proudly at the entrance of the port and is the most photographed site in downtown Miami by visiting tourists. The tribute also serves as a reminder to present and future generations of the significant contributions and history of the international trade and transportation pioneers. We thank the Lord for this blessing. To make this endeavor completely successful, however, we needed to have the state of Florida designate it as a historic site. We were fortunate to engage the services of the Foreign Affairs Agency, who have the knowledge and expertise needed to accomplish our goal. I now want to introduce the agency's president and CEO, Karima Timms-Harris, who will give us additional information and official briefing on the unveiling ceremony, which is, as I said at the beginning, scheduled for Thursday, September the 4th, at the Port of Miami. Thank you. Karima?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And I hope that you can hear me clearly. I did prepare a brief presentation that I'd like to walk you through this morning. But before I get into a lot of the presentation materials, I wanted to thank Ralph and the team at the Foreign Trade Association for all of their support with this project that we started in January of this year. And so, without further ado, I will begin the presentation. Ready. Okay, excellent. And so on the first slide, you should see the actual tribute site with a sample of what a historic marker looks like. And I bet for those of you who spend time in Coral Gables and around the city, you have seen these markers before. They're beautiful blue signs that the state of Florida Department of State Division of Cultural Resources and Historic Resources uses as what we call markers. This sign is made of an aluminum material that is obviously weatherproof, but again is a very distinguished marker for historic sites throughout the state. And so this is just superimposed on the first slide to give you an idea of what it looks like. And the locations that we're actually contemplating for our marker will be in one of these grassy knoll areas, depending on the clearance that we get from the county's engineering department. But that's a logistic detail that we'll work out as we get closer. Okay. So our firm is a management consulting firm. We specialize in foreign investment, working with individuals and companies that are interested through the EB-5 program, investing in projects in Florida. We also do a good deal of management consulting with organizations. We are international relations experts. I served as the former chief of protocol for the state of Florida and managed diplomatic relations for then Secretary of State Katherine Harris and Governor Bush on some of his visits. We do governmental relations, which entails lobbying and working with various government agencies throughout the state, as well as project management and strategic planning. So those are our services. We have experience on projects like the Pioneers Walk project. We conceptualized that in consultation with FFTA, but our probably biggest project and most notable project is this, called the Dolphin Project. It's actually named Storm Song, and we worked with the gentleman who sculpted all those dolphins, which are made out of aluminum and stainless steel. It is the most photographed site at the state capitol. It was sponsored generously by $1 million contribution from the Anheuser-Busch Foundations. But that site prior to was just a park. For those of you who've been to the Capitol, it's immediately in front of the Supreme Court building. But again, frequently photographed for weddings and classes that come to the Capitol on field trips. And we created a strategic plan for this around environmental education in Florida. An endowment was created, and so when children come to the Capitol Park, not a mandatory requirement, but part of what we encourage them to do is explore Florida flora and fauna, and to be able to talk about those things that are native to our state. This project entailed a fundraising campaign, obviously a communications and media relations campaign as we work towards unveiling Storm Song and talking about its significance to the state of Florida. Next is the project overview for Pioneers Walk. And when Ralph and I got together and outlined this project, we knew that we wanted it to be an extension of the current tribute site, being able to pay homage not just to those folks who were the modern pioneers, but the original pioneers, some of those visionaries that made what we see today possible. And so that entailed our firm being able to first get this historic designation, initiating that process, preparing the technical application, as well as pitching, or if you will, presenting this concept to a committee of historians. And those historians are the folks that are responsible for approving projects that get this historic designation. And so we did that, all the research, all the preparation of the application the first quarter of this year, and actually received approval in March. The next task was partnership development. And we set out to involve, obviously, community folks, but in addition to that, the corporate sector is very important as part of this overall endeavor. And so we first had to get permission from the Florida Department of Transportation to actually erect this marker because they own the land. And then most importantly was a partnership with the port, to which Ralph has been working with those folks over the course of the last 6 months. They are on board as one of our partners. And then this morning I got some really good news that the Florida East Coast Industries, which is Flagler's development corporation, as well as the people that run his foundation, have agreed to be one of our corporate partners. And so this week I'll be in negotiation with them on finalizing that agreement. And then finally, public awareness. And no endeavor of this kind at all would be possible but for the involvement of the public and being able to really outline for them why this is important. And so as Ralph said earlier, this is one of the most photographed sites in downtown Miami. And we want people, when they come to this site, through the marker text and through a study of the names of people who have participated, really understand why the Port of Miami is important to the community. And if I'm speaking too fast, please slow me down.
You're doing good. Perfect.
Okay, so that's the project overview. Now our project goals. What we set out to do with this project is, one, support the overall awareness of the Pioneers Walk. And again, in my view, it is a cohesive strategy that talks about those founding pioneers and then bringing that forward to the modern day pioneers. Because of Miami and its significance to the hemisphere and to the nation, we want to increase the global profile of this project. And the way we do that is through enhanced media relations and through our partnership development. So we are working towards getting not just state media folks involved, but international media. I've had some discussions with the Downtown Miami Development Authority about doing a supplement in their guide that would be perhaps a feature article. And then in addition to that, we would have what we like to call rack cards or information that can be given to tourist drivers as they pass this site that would be an informational about what's actually within that tribute area. And then finally, we want to be able to ensure the permanency of the existing monuments that are located, so that would include the tribute site. And with a historic marker designation, that marker can never ever be moved unless permission from the state is granted. It will forever go in the history books marked at a longitude, latitude. And so again, the purpose is to have that marker guide people to not only the tribute site, but the port in and of itself and why it's important. Okay? The historic significance. I think it goes without saying that this project was designed to show a shared history of Florida's trade and transportation industry, beginning with Mr. Flagler over 100 years ago. But what I thought was really, really important in that marker text was to be able to complement the work and his vision all those years ago to the sectors that are vital to Florida's economy today. And then when we talk about economic significance, clearly the port is a reflection of modern industry advances. It is a competitive global center. The tunnel and the cruise capital of the world and the gateway of the Americas are all things that Miami is known for. And then most important is its economic impact that's indisputable. More than 27 billion annual income with 207,000 direct and indirect jobs created. And then I want to share with you the approved marker text. And if you bear with me while I read it, you'll have to envision on that actual sign this text being addressed, and it's being fabricated now, but it says that Miami's waterfront location has played a critical role in its history. In 1895, landowners Julia Tuttle, William and Mary Brickell persuaded Henry Flagler to extend his Florida East Coast Railway south and build a port city. Flagler's first passenger train reached Miami in 1896, and the city of 300 residents was then incorporated. In this area, and this will be the area that the marker goes more symbolic than the exact location, but in either event, in this area, Flagler dredged a 12-foot channel in 1897 and began regular passenger service between Miami and Key West. Flagler's Peninsula and Occidental Steamship Company later began the first regular shipping service between Miami, Grenada, and Nassau. In the post-World War II boom, Miami's geographic proximity as one of the closest U.S. ports to the Caribbean and South America, the city's transportation and international trade pioneers, and its connection with global commerce have made it the cruise capital of the world and the cargo gateway of the Americas. The port accommodates the largest cruise ships in the world and is one of an elite group of international ports that cater to both cruise ships and containerized cargo vessels. And so that is the marker text as approved by the council. It was, as I said, a great deal of work to conduct the research and compile all this information in a concise marker text that's designed to educate people, assuming that no one knows anything about the Port of Miami. What you see next is that each marker has a assigned marker number, and then it will be followed by the names of the sponsors who made this all possible. Now, what's important to share here is that the particular marker that we have is a Florida Heritage Landmark marker, meaning less than 10% of the markers you see around the state actually receive this designation. There are two that you can get. We have the highest of those two designations. So as it exists right now, our sponsors are my firm, the Foreign Affairs Center, the Florida Foreign Trade Association. We will add the Flagler organization, the Florida East Coast Industries, I believe is what theirs will say. We have room for one additional major sponsor. And as always is the case on every one of these markers, the Florida Department of State will be recognized. Okay? Now, our next steps include partnership development, and that is ongoing. So if anyone has ideas or suggestions about groups that we should reach out to that perhaps we have not already contacted, we would welcome that direction. Public awareness, again, another ongoing process that means for every opportunity that we can take to inform the public about the importance of this tribute site as well as the historic marker, we want to do that. And then finally, fundraising. And so no project of this caliber can be done on a shoestring. We have 2 events planned, the first of which will happen on Thursday, September 4th, from 11 to 11:30, which is a dedication ceremony at the tribute site. Secretary Anand Prasad, who is the Secretary for the Florida Department of Transportation, has agreed to deliver the keynote address and unveil the marker. I got a little ahead of myself. There are sponsorship opportunities available for our general partners. We call them industry-level sponsorships. And those packages are $1,000, and it's an opportunity to showcase your community and your industry support to this community. This package is designed to recognize industry event sponsors as key supporters of international trade, the maritime and transportation industries, and the key benefits of this package include a table for 8 guests at the luncheon event, which will be held at Terminal J. And then in addition to that, you will receive recognition in the official program. And finally, certificates of recognition will be given to all of our sponsors at this level. Now, one thing I didn't mention, and I do want to back up, part of what we wanted to do to raise the profile again of this inauguration and unveiling is that we do intend to honor key corporations from each of the 4 sectors, which include rail, ocean, air, and Ralph, help me out with the 4th one. I think it may be transportation. So that concludes this presentation. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have. I thank you obviously for your support and your time this morning. And I hope that I did not go through that presentation too quickly, but certainly if there's any slide that I need to go back to, I'm happy to do so. Questions?
If we have
Or
any
comments?
Yes, if we have any questions, Ralph Coogan can fill us in, right?
Give me 1 second.
Hi. No, I was just saying, if we have any clarification or questions, Ralph Coogan can fill us in on